Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Minor Service here on John's Garage, where we take a look at the model history of a recently featured car on John's Garage. This week it's the turn of the 1984 to 1989 Toyota Starlet EP71. Before we jump in, I'd just like to ask you right at the very start if you could ensure that you subscribe to the channel and watch right through to the end of the video. That way YouTube's algorithms will begin to highlight the channel a little bit more to people. And as I'm based in Ireland, YouTube for some reason seemed to make it very difficult for us to get picked up by their algorithm and promoted. So it would really help a big deal if you could do that. Anyway, back to it. The Toyota Starlet started life in 1973 and would continue to be sold until 1999 when it was replaced by the Vitz or Yaris, depending on where you were tuning in from. It replaced the Toyota Publica and it was Toyota's second attempt at a subcompact model. We're going to concentrate our focus today, however, on the 1984 to 1989 Toyota Starlet EP71. This was the third generation of Starlet from Toyota. It has gone on to be commonly known now as the Boxy Starlet. This model was radically different from its predecessors, which we'll learn about in just a moment. But first, what does the name Starlet actually mean? Well, according to Toyota, it means a small star burning brightly, and that's exactly what it was in their range for 26 years. It was a model of first for Toyota in a number of different ways, which has helped it to gain iconic status for a lot of Toyota fans worldwide. Firstly, it was the first subcompact front-wheel drive model from Toyota. Previous generations of Starlets were rear-wheel drive up to this point, but with front-wheel drive expected now in this market segment, Toyota had to make a change. Also, it was the first generation of Starlet that was offered with a high-performance variant. From 1986 to 1989, Toyota offered the Starlet Turbo S. This model has remained sought after ever since, with its pint-sized 1.3-litre turbo engine being highly tunable and very rugged. The EP71 was offered in 3-door and 5-door body styles and also as a commercial van. In Ireland, the DX and XL models were most common in 1-litre and to a lesser extent 1.3-litre variants. There was also a sporty looking variant with the 1.3-litre non-turbo engine offered called the SI Limited, and this was offered with a number of different sporting packages and also included two-tone paint. In terms of the engines, the 1-litre or 999cc 12-valve engine was available with a 4-speed gearbox and delivered 55 horsepower. It could also be paired with an automatic gearbox for those who weren't in a rush going anywhere. This engine was coded 1E. The 1.3-litre engine was again available with 12 valves, however its output ranged from 65 to 88 horsepower depending on whether it was carbureted or fuel injected. Turbocharged models came with higher braking horsepower of 101 and also 110 horsepower. It was offered with both 4 and 5-speed gearboxes, however 5-speed beat was the standard on the turbo. Speaking of turbos, the intercooled turbocharged version initially produced 101 horsepower and was later offered with 110 horsepower. This paired to the car's lightweight of 720 kgs allowed for some very entertaining handling back in the 1980s. To aid acceleration, this model was fitted with a 2-mode turbocharger that could increase boost to 91 horsepower in the lower half of the rev range and 101 horsepower at the upper end. Obviously, this was on the first generation of the car. This model was advertised when new as being lightning fast by Toyota. The EP71 Starlet was also the first Starlet whereby some models were built outside of Japan and they were built and assembled in Indonesia. These Indonesian models weren't offered for sale in Europe. This particular generation of Starlet bucked the trend to become bigger with each passing generation. It was 45mm shorter than the model from before, however it was also 55mm wider. This allowed Toyota to harness the benefits of front-wheel drive to provide more passenger space inside. Toyota also offered for the first time stylized headlights which could be made flush with the body and grille to aid aerodynamics and styling. Suspension front and rear wasn't anything too novel, with McPherson struts up front and a trailing arm semi-independent twist beam at the rear. The benefits of this setup will be felt by later owners who wish to modify the cars cheaply and easily. At this stage, the Starlet has been out of production for 23 years. However, it's still fondly remembered as a reliable, no-nonsense workhorse that rarely ever caused a fuss. It's also remembered as a pocket rocket and highly customizable by others. Whichever way you view the car, it's now highly prized by enthusiasts. Thanks again for watching this week's episode of The Minor Service, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe as always, and we'll see you again soon.